And by the way, can you imagine, after hours of beatings and torture and humiliation, the Son of God was then cruelly and mercilessly nailed to an old rugged cross to die like a common criminal. My goodness, it was surely the darkest day in human history. Would you agree? Now, there have been other dark days and seasons, to be sure. In fact, our world is experiencing one of the darkest times most any of us who are alive have ever seen right now. We have hundreds of thousands of people around our world infected with this COVID-19 virus, and hundreds of thousands more have already died from it. Those are dark times for sure. So here's the question today. What can we do when dark times come rolling in? And there are probably multiple answers to that, I get it, but here are the two most obvious in my opinion. You ready? Number one, we can run and hide. Or number two, we can face the trial and trust the God in us to walk us through it. And of course, option two is the best option, but not always so easy to do. In fact, it is usually the most difficult. That's why so many people will often choose the run and hide option. Because when that dark moment of discouragement comes knocking, it's so easy to just turn off the lights and pull the covers over our head and ignore anything that goes bump in the night, right? That's why many people also will preoccupy with their TV or their cell phone or computer or video game, whatever, mentally and emotionally ignoring the creeping darkness so they won't have to confront. But think about this. What if in those times of avoidance we are missing what God may have for us? I'm talking about even in our darkest discouragement. And what if we decided to encounter and even explore more intensely that frightening darkness and the Christ who is with us even while we are in that frightening darkness? You see, if we could have written the biblical script for Good Friday, no doubt we would have omitted the betrayal and trial of Jesus. We would have omitted the beatings and jeers and mockery. We would have omitted the cross and certainly the torturous death. We would have omitted the discouragement and darkness and gone right to Easter, because no one likes the pain. No one likes the darkness, right? So here's the deal. We have always been told there is a silver lining in every cloud. And I want you to know that is true. All things do work together for good to those who love God. Now watch. Here is Jesus hanging on a wooden cross, stretched out to die, this agonizing death in the blistering sun. And do you remember what happened? This is great. At the hottest part of the day, the Bible tells us darkness fell over the whole region. Now, at first glance, that would sound like something bad, right? Sound like something haunting. I mean, it's darkness after all. But wait, because maybe, just maybe, that darkness, at least for Jesus' sake, was not meant to be a bad thing. What if that darkness was more like a cup of cold water to a thirsty soul? What if God used even that darkness as a blessed respite from the heat in the midst of Jesus' suffering? Because when it happened, the Bible also tells us that Jesus turned his gaze toward God and shouted, "Father, I entrust my spirit into your hands." Now, maybe that sounds hollow to you given the circumstances, but I'm believing that what transpired was this. At that moment, Jesus was able to place his dying self into God's hands with such a profound trust because, listen, because he had learned to walk in the dark. He knew in the core of his being that even in death, God would never leave him and never forsake him. That God would go with him all the way. A beautiful truth. Listen, learned in the midst of darkness. Isn't that good? Nancy and I pray for you. Pray that you would have a blessed and meaningful Good Friday and Easter. And we pray that through the darkness of this virus, along with any other darkness you may be walking through right now, that you too will sense the presence of our gracious and hope-giving God, the one who is with you all the way, as he was with his Son, the one who calls you his beloved, as Jesus was his beloved, the one who promises to never leave you or forsake you, the one who promises to meet your need and even grant you the desires of your heart. Hey, Good Friday indeed. Listen, thanks for spending this time with me today. And I'd also like to invite you to join me on Easter Sunday at newdaychurchbrandon.org. We'll be on at 10 o'clock for a very uplifting and special message on the greatest comeback story of all time, the resurrection of Jesus. I hope to see you then. God bless you.